And not to mention, I feel like it's almost like you're waiting. You know, when you anticipate something for so long, and as it gets closer and closer, it just feels like the days drag. That's kind of how I am with college basketball.
Season hype, now getting an actual number put on that hype, and it's hard to not start wavering that way when you have the expectation of the football team kind of not being met a little bit with where we all were preseason, at least on how it's looked, not necessarily record-wise here at this point, but a lot of people's eyes felt like we should be 5-0 going into this week, ranked. We played football that should showcase us being 5-0 outside from 2 or 3 plays, so that's what's tough, but got to find a way to make sure we're cheering on these football cards too.
Yeah, I mean, this is I really wish the Cardinals' get-right game wasn't the number 2 team in the country.
It's tough.
Who I believe is the number 1 team in the country, truthfully. I think Miami is a better team than Ohio State. I think their resume is more impressive. Game, I just think they're a better team. Like, if you played those teams on a neutral field right now, I think Miami beats them. It might be by double digits.
Really?
I'm a huge believer in this Miami team, man. Which I'm surprised that I'm saying that because before the season, you and I were like, we'll see what Cristobal does. And now it's like my team's talented enough to the point to where we don't have to worry about whether or not Cristobal can kind of hold us back.
I wouldn't say double digits in that level of how I feel about them, but I do think top to bottom they're better than Ohio State. I think they've consistently played better in bigger games. Ohio State's had a couple quarters against a couple teams that have looked like, whoa, that's the best team in college football.
I think it's name.
I don't think Miami's really had that.
They're coming off the national championship, right? I mean,
got the best receiver in college football.
He ain't playing like it.
No, not yet.
I don't know what it is about guys being on the cover of like the football games, Madden or college football. It's like the Monstars just zap their powers. Like Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams were on that cover. And those two guys, like if you didn't know what they did last year, you'd watch them play and think, I don't know that these are the two go-to guys in college football. They're not wide receiver 1 and 2 right now.
Nope.
I'd go as far as saying that. I think that's probably Mekhi Lemon, USC, and is it Jordan Tyson from Arizona State.
He's been good.
Those are my top 2 wide receivers. But anyway, Louisville is coming off of the bye week. We will get up to Miami prep at the end of the show. 6:20 we'll have Alex Donovan, Locked On Canes. Of course, I host Locked On Louisville. He is my Miami counterpart. He is one of the best Locked On hosts out there. He's going to tell us what we need to know about Miami. We're going to conclude the show with some gut feelings discussing the Miami game. But before that, it's going to be about the upcoming basketball season. AP rankings are out. Ken Palm ratings are out. Apparently, the Cardinals are recruiting the G League now, which is I didn't realize it was a thing until I saw the precedent being set. So we'll discuss that. A top target is making an announcement on Wednesday. Unfortunately, at this point, it seems like Pat Kelsey is going to miss out on another one of his priorities in the class. So a lot of stuff to get to today's show. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line to get any thoughts in about Louisville's top 25 ranking, to get any thoughts in on Pat Kelsey's recruiting in the 2026 class, this upcoming football matchup against Miami. There's a lot of stuff to get into. Let's see. It looks like we already have a text into, I think it's a
lot of text Mike didn't get to, like the last 10 texts we were able to read.
I think some of this is based upon your all's Big X, Big Bets. Somebody says, does the Four Locos still work? Does it still work?
It hasn't worked since the Kentucky game last season.
Okay, how many times have you done it, though? Just once?
Since then, we did it after the Kentucky game last season. Football, obviously. That's when it worked.
Yeah.
We did it for the Creighton game, which didn't work.
Oh, so you've done it for basketball, too.
Well, the Creighton game was the first one. Felt like we needed it.
Okay.
The halftime loco there didn't do the trick. Had one bought for Stanford. Probably the fact that I bought one and then fell asleep for the entirety of the game. Probably why.
You're talking about the football game?
Yeah, last year.
Oh, my gosh, dude. Imagine waking up to that, like, what the?
Dude, I woke up, we were 35-33. We had, like, just last possession of the game, lost the game right there in my very
I was at work during that game, and we were up huge, and then I was like, all right, well, I'll just go back to work. We're good. I'm sitting at the desk. I look up at the TV that's playing it for, like, 2 seconds, and it was during the field goal for them to win the game.
Dude, I got to tell you all something. You know, obviously the fall is my busy PA announcing time. I'm PA announcing a lot throughout the fall. And a lot of times it kind of crosses over with Louisville playing, and I was announcing a Bellarmine volleyball game. And volleyball is a fast-paced sport to where it's like you have to pay attention. But I tell you, I was in hell trying to keep up with the volleyball game, right, and not drop the ball there. But try to follow the Cardinals just dropping the ball on the field. I'm like, what's going on here? And I had people looking at me from the stands because I missed a couple plays, and I'm like, dude, give me a second. We're having a Brom game real quick. Hopefully you all can understand. But let's switch over to the basketball side. Rankings are out. AP rankings are out. Kim Pom rankings are out. Full transparency, preliminary thoughts is I think that they're too low. I think that the Cardinals are a top 10 team. There are a couple teams in the top 10 ahead of the Cardinals that I just don't buy, in my opinion. But that's kind of where I'm at. I know
there's a couple of teams up there that I feel like don't belong up there.
Who? Okay. If you had to guess, I don't know if there are two teams in particular, in my opinion. One team for sure.
BYU does not belong that far up.
Actually, I have. There's probably three teams. BYU, I agree. I know that they brought some guys back. They're bringing AJD. I don't think they're a deep team with a good bench, and I want to see because we saw it in. I know it's AAU ball and whatnot, but can AJ DeBansa affect the game in more ways than just scoring? That's something that I wonder. I agree with you. I don't think Louisville should be below BYU at this point. So that's one team. That's not the team I'm looking for, though. Who else would you say? So I'll read off the top. Louisville's at number 11 in the AP rankings.
I don't think Duke belongs that high.
Number 1 is Purdue. Number 2 is Houston. Number 3 is Florida. I'm all right with all three of those. I
think the order's wrong.
I mean, but they're top 3 teams,
yeah.
though. I mean, I think, honestly, Houston is number 1.
I think Florida, the roster's better than – I like it more than Purdue's, but I get why Purdue's up there. I get why
number 4 is UConn. They bring guys back. I can respect UConn being here. St. John's at number 5. They went really good in the portal. They were really good in the portal. Number 6 is Duke.
That feels high.
Duke does feel a little high. It's a lot of hype at the moment.
You're relying on certain guys to make a big jump and from freshmen to come be some of the best players in college basketball.
And that's when usually players do make their largest jump is in between freshman and sophomore year. But still, yeah, I mean, I think that there are some question marks with this team. Number 7 is who I really don't believe in. And I'll tell you who that is here in a second. 8 is BYU. 9 is Kentucky. 10 is Texas Tech, who also should not be over Louisville.
That was my second one.
Texas Tech, I get it. You're bringing J.T. Toppin back. Very possibly a Naismith Player of the Year candidate. He's that good.
Can do it all.
And they have a really good coach with McCaslin. But outside of that, you're bringing in multiple non-Power 5 guys to be able to step in. And I'm sorry, I look at top to bottom of the roster, and I take Louisville over Texas Tech. I take Louisville over BYU. The one team that I really would take Louisville over is Michigan at number 7. Their starting guards, Elliot Cadeau from North Carolina is one of their starting guards. Rodney Gale Jr., Namari Burnett filling out that backcourt. You have Yaxel Luxembourg.
He's the truth.
Morez Johnson Jr. from Illinois. I'm sorry. I think that this Louisville team has a top, I'll say 2 or 3 backcourt in the country.
I agree.
The front court, yeah, we have
question marks.
It's not bad, but it might not be elite to where it kind of holds them back a little bit. So I think, and look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The fact that they are ranked in the top 25 preseason for the first time since 2019, it's awesome. Just kind of slowly and consistently reiterating that the Cardinals are back on the right track to getting back to prominence. So, I mean, I personally would have them between 6 through 10.
Yeah. Number
8 would have been my official preseason ranking. I would have had them over the 3 teams that we just mentioned. Duke's just challenging to me. Like, I believe in the talent. There's just, I feel like, a larger amount of, maybe not concern, but intrigue, you might want to call it, because of the youth that they're bringing in with the experience. But AP rankings at this point, mid-October, they don't really matter. The KenPom rankings are also out. You all saw that.
Which typically have a little bit better accuracy compared to where
it's
they
just
end.
The analytics portion of it, right? Like it factors in non-conference strength of schedule, offensive rating, defensive rating, adjusted tempo, luck. Factors luck into the equation. And the Cardinals are sitting at number 14, which, again, I think is a little bit low.
A little bit.
But how they broke it down makes a lot of sense because right now the metrics that you have preseason are offensive rating and defensive rating. The Cardinals currently with the 5th best offensive rating. That's trailing Purdue, UConn, Florida, and BYU. 3 of those teams top 5 KenPom. Cardinals have the 5th best offensive rating going into the season. Just kind of confirms to me that you really don't need to hear this, but KenPom knows ball. I think that this is a really good offense, but the defense is 38th, which isn't bad. It's not bad at all. But you kind of wonder, is like, well, can you outkick your coverage to an extent? Can you play better defense than what you would think? And I do think that, and maybe it's me just trying to convince myself with as much time to think as we've had over the offseason, well, this guy might be better defensively and that guy might be better. And then all of a sudden you are just convincing yourself over and over that this is a better defense than it might actually be.
Yep.
I think there are some pretty solid on-ball defenders that we don't talk about. Adrian Woolley and Michael Brown Jr. Adrian Woolley apparently is killing it in the preseason.
They're calling him a two-way player. I like the sound of that. The fact that you're one of the guards that we're projecting to be predicting to come off the bench and not be as important of a player that's going to come into his season, right? Going to learn throughout the season and ideally get better and better and better. And in a perfect world, be one of your best guards at the end of the season, right? We're not expecting that out of Adrian Woolley immediately. Dalton, it feels like all of the reports we keep getting, all of the things we keep getting about people who have access to practice and who have gotten to see him play say he's one of the most active guys out there on both ends of the floor, time in and time out. So that's a really, really positive sign. I also think you've got a lot of switchability on this team, right? Isaac McNeely, Ryan Conwell, they're not the biggest, but they're also not the smallest. They're not guys that you can just bully around, push around by any means. I'm not saying I'm expecting them to go out there and guard 1 through 3, but on the perimeter, they can hold their own, right? And if you can just have some active hands with a few of your other better defenders, Michael Brown's shown to be a very, very active hands kind of a defender. If you let that ball get loose, he will pick it. Not necessarily going to stop guys from getting into the rim with his body, but definitely able to muck things up if you are trying to dribble a whole bunch in front of him. So we should have the ability to be pretty good defensively on top of offensively, but I get that that's going to be something that comes second, you know?
I agree. And here's the thing. When it comes to the ACC, of course, Louisville picked to finish second in the conference. What am I missing with Duke? Because I look up and down this roster, and I'm like, how can you justify, outside of hype with Dame Sarr and the Boozer brothers, how can you justify Duke being over Louisville? Is it a coaching advantage? Do you think that John Shire is a better coach than Pat Kelsey to the point where I think the roster?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so either.
There were times when, like, during the game against Duke in the championship where I felt like Pat Kelsey was coaching circles around John Shire.
He was up in the both half.
They had him
of
switch.
those games.
He had him switch into a zone for a little bit.
That was a much, I would say much more, it was a more talented Duke team, right? You
We
lost.
played with them.
You lost one of the best college freshmen in the past 20 years. And not to mention Kaman Malawach and Con Knipple.
Tyrese Proctor.
Like you lose that. Who do you bring back?
5 NBA guys.
So here's
your 4-year starting lineup is in the
Here's
NBA.
what a lot of people think is the projected starting 5 for Duke. The point guard is Caleb Foster, the guy whose role has been diminishing since he was a freshman. Last year, 4.9 points a game in 14 minutes. Now, can he get better? Can he be serviceable? I'd say so, but he's a junior. It's not like he's consistently gotten better. His role's consistently diminished.
Knipple came in there and took his job.
Immediately. Point guard. Advantage Louisville. All day. Shooting guard, Isaiah Evans, who...
Was there a 6-man last year?
I believe in Isaiah Evans. I think that his shooting prowess is pretty solid.
He's
But
no Proctor, but yeah.
But here's the he's I think the ceiling is higher than Proctor. I'm just not sure that the production is going to be as good as Proctor in his junior season. And like I said, you're anticipating all these guys to take the next step.
Yeah.
Each one, right? Isaiah Evans over Ryan Conwell. I'm going with Ryan Conwell.
He's taken.
Right?
He took that step last year.
Exactly. Let me average 16 points a game in the Big East.
Exactly.
That's better.
He's ready.
Exactly. The third is Dame Sarr. He's the top 10 freshman, played for, Barcelona last year.
Alexander Sarr's little brother in the NBA.
Yeah, and I mean, Sarr is a projected lottery pick. I would almost rather them have Sarr rather than Cedric Coward, the Washington State transfer who they were probably going to get.
Because Sarr's not really ready.
Okay, but Sarr over Adrian Woolley / Isaac McNeely.
It's tough because offensively, no. Defensively,
I'd say defensively, yeah. But then again, Woolley, I mean, it's Woolley, no. But that's what I'm saying. There's so much uncertainty with this Duke team that, like, I know you're basing it upon the name and you're basing it upon these guys that we don't really know much about, and they could end up coming in and being machines.
Two most important players are going to be freshmen again.
That's where the clear.
They lost games last year with their freshman mistakes at the beginning of the season. You remember that?
Oh, I do. I do. The Kentucky game being one of them. Kentucky game, Kansas game. There was like a string of games where Cooper Flagg made mistakes in crunch time, and it cost them games. But
Proctor made mistakes too.
Cam Boozer, he's an advantage for Duke.
Yeah.
Right? 6'9", 250. People are comparing him to Kevin Love. That's an interesting college comparison, in my opinion. You got to kind of go back in the memory base there to the late 2000s. But
Kevin Love isn't interesting. Kevin Love is
well, you got to think Kevin Love at UConn.
UCLA.
Not UConn. UCLA, sorry. I'm sitting there. Who am I thinking of? I just meant to say UCLA. Kevin Love at UCLA was one of those. He wasn't a guy that took the ball up the floor sometime like he did for Minnesota. And at points at Cleveland, he was more that, hey, give me the ball down low and watch me work.
He was a rim runner out of UCLA.
Kevin Love, I think it was Aaron Shipp. Was Russell Westbrook on that team?
On that team. One more. They had one more. I can't think of who it
Aaron
is.
Aflalo, I think, was on that team.
I think you're right.
I think. It's going to drive me nuts, but Cameron Boozer is an advantage for Duke. And then you go to 5. It's, how do you say this guy's name? Ngongba?
Yeah.
Patrick Ngongba. 6'8" senior who appeared in 30 games last year, but averaged 4 points, 2.7 rebounds. Now, do they have some players that are going to get better with more opportunities? Probably almost certainly. But what am I missing, guys? I feel like Louisville is the better team on paper.
They're putting so much stock into what Cameron Boozer is going to be as a college basketball player this season, and I think is what's kind of going into this.
And you've got some other guys. You got Caden Boozer, who I don't know that he's maybe he is the backup point guard, but
in the footage of their practices, it looks like he's playing backup point.
Malik Brown, who was their glue guy last year, he didn't really average much, and I understand averages aren't the end-all be-all.
Wasn't he more of a defender for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicholas Kaminia, that 5-star wing that they've got coming in.
I don't know anything about him.
Darren Harris, who's a sophomore, but he again, there's just a bunch of uncertainty. I think that's the point I keep coming back to. As for Louisville, it's not really an uncertainty on what these guys can do. It's how well they can mesh. So you've got questions all over the landscape about, well, how are these new teams going to mesh? But in Duke and Louisville's case, it's completely different because Duke, it's like, okay, you've got some talent, but what are they going to look like in college? And some of these other guys that we haven't seen really do well, how large of a leap are they going to make? And
how are they going to play? Who's going to initiate offense?
And then you have Louisville.
Who's going to be okay with their role? I think those are question marks to Duke.
I am a firm believer that guard play wins you games in March. And, of course, this is more so of a regular season thing because the Cardinals will play Duke twice. But, dude, I just don't know that I think Louisville's advantage in guard play is larger than Duke's advantage in the front court. That's what it comes down to. So, I think Louisville should be over Duke, in my opinion. Let's see. Also in the ACC, you look at the top 25 rankings. ACC really didn't get much love, which kind of makes sense, right?
Unless you're a UNC fan.
Can we, guys? Are we going to go through this same song and dance?
We are. Hopefully they're
North
better.
Carolina at 25. They
They
were 23-14 last year with no business of making the NCAA tournament. If their athletic director wasn't the tournament chair,
They got that good freshman, though.
I mean, Caleb Wilson's good. But, I mean, okay. Here's their start.
I'm not mad at it. We need this, Dalton.
I mean, yeah, maybe we should be.
I'm hoping that this
Bubba
is...
Cunningham is working overtime right now.
He's doing unreal things up
Dude
there.
is taking PR classes in his off time.
Dude said, my team was thought of so highly last offseason that it carried us to the end of the year. We've got to do it again.
Weren't they 0-12 in
Only to throw UNC in there.
quad 4 games?
What was it?
Yes, it was like
quad one.
They were the
Quad
worst.
1, yeah.
Brother,
Quad 1, I mean.
if they were
Yeah, quad 1,
12
I
in
meant.
quad 4 games and they made the tournament,
That's not possible.
we should just disband the tournament.
They were the worst, I believe, the worst team to make the tournament in quad 1 opportunities.
What do you think about college basketball wanting to expand the tournament?
Terrible.
You mean the NCAA is trying to break something that doesn't need to be fixed?
The only good thing that they've got, they want to mess it up. I'm not surprised. They've messed everything else up in the sports, in that realm. So they need to leave this alone. It's their moneymaker.
They won't.
It's their billion-dollar baby. They need
More teams equals more revenue. More games equals more revenue.
but not.
We're watering down the tournament at this point.
I feel like all the deals though for the channels are already set in stone, like TBS, CBS, all those.
You can find more. Brother, if money's out there, you can
They're going to
find
have
more.
games on Tubi before they stop expanding.
Wrong answers only. What networks out there are they going to stream games on? Wrong answers only.
Y'all ever heard of Crackle?
Yeah.
That's going to get one.
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll would be sick. They do like an anime version of like the Nickelodeon football
I was
games.
gonna say they're already on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. It's
the
only a matter of
SpongeBob
time.
Super Bowl thing.
Oh, I love that. That's even more entertaining than the Super Bowl.
That slime that they use all over the screen. It's just so stupid.
Oh, the person you were also thinking of for UCLA, they also had Mba Mute on that team.
Oh my gosh, that's such a pull. You had to look up the team.
Oh, I did. I had to look
Thank
it
you.
up. I can,
Luke Mba Mute.
Yeah. What a
Oh my
team.
gosh, yeah.
Mba Mute.
Houston Rockets 2018 legend, by the way. Can you imagine? You are tuned in to the first 4 game on NCAA's weekend on the Home Garden Network.
They're gonna like the Golf Channel's gonna sponsor it for one game. They're gonna have like Scotty Scheffler come out and take the inaugural free throw.
Dude, you imagine having them, but the only catch is commentating the basketball game. It's got to be like real low pitch. You can't cheer. There's no excitement involved.
They're gonna bring Vern Lundquist back.
He said, Michael Brown dribbles up the court, passing over to Ryan Conlon. His 3. It's up. It's good.
People are only allowed to clap.
Golf clap. Just sit there. Just
That would actually be interesting.
here he goes approaching the 18th green. I mean, the bottom of the basket.
That reminds me of like what was it? It was 2 years ago when the NBA. I think it was a Lakers game they did where they did no commentary and then like no music played during the game. So it was just raw basketball with fans, and all it was just like
The crowd noise.
crowd noise and stuff.
I honestly,
And they aired the whole thing on TV.
I feel like I remember that, and low key, I wish we'd do more of that. There are some announcers that when they're on air, I'm like, I've got to mute this or commentate it myself in my brain. Because, bro, it's bad. But
You know the running joke that like there's so many podcasts. People are like, oh, we're just giving anybody a mic now.
yeah,
I feel like we're
Locked on Louisville, dude, just randomly giving dudes microphones.
I feel like we're genuinely just giving anybody a microphone when it comes to just, like sports commentary. Like we're just letting anybody who's ever played the sport ever be on either
like
the
play-by-play?
Yeah, like be on the
my
CW or the ACC network. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter.
I saw a couple questions.
That should show you already. There's no shame of how money will dictate it because they got games on the CW network, bro.
There was a
Way
I
too
can't
many
remember
Louisville ones for me to count.
there was one game this weekend. I
And we
can't remember
lose
what
them
it was.
all.
There was a crazy call this commentator had. He said the N-word in the call and all.
Oh, it was the football game over the weekend. I know you're
Some
talking.
college football game of the
He
weekend.
said that he needed to get him some milk.
Oh, yeah, that bleep needs some milk. Talking about
What?
players out there.
I did not hear about
It was
that.
definitely a black commentator, but still.
It wasn't like they
Insane.
forgot to cut the mics off during the break. Like it was during a replay. Like he just said it.
Oh,
Like,
so it was just like in the
Live,
play.
on the air, yeah.
Oh, it wasn't like a hot mic thing.
No, like
People
here's the
get caught
replay of
saying
that
some
play
bad
just
things.
now. Some running backs trucks through this DB. And he's
What?
talking about the DB in the play. He's like, that bleep needs some milk. Couldn't believe and he was like laughing. Like he was prepared to say it and liked what he said.
Oh, so he had planned this. He thought he was cooking with
yeah.
it. Oh my God.
I heard it. I was like, how do I get a job? What do you got to do play-by-play at that level if this is what they're saying?
You know something crazy that I saw over the weekend?
I think we got to go to break here, do we not?
Yeah, but the Louisville Cardinals are recruiting somebody from the G League.
I saw this.
And it's 100% legit. And we're going to talk about it when we come back at the top of the hour. You're tuned into Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Top of the hour here on this October 13th edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence. Dalton, Roman, and Matt taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight. Don't forget, coming up at the top of the next segment, we will have Alex Donovan of Locked On Canes to talk about the Miami Hurricanes. Of course, Louisville back in action football-wise after the bye week. And what better way to have a get-right game than at number 2 Miami on a Friday night? I can think of some easier matchups that Louisville could partake in. But anyways, the Cardinals are going to try to get back on track down in Coral Gables. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line to get any thoughts in. What a time we are living in. It feels like 2025. Really, this transfer portal era is such like a simulation.
It is.
When I saw over the weekend that the Louisville Cardinals are recruiting a player from the G League, I said, what the hell? And then I remembered that there was a ruling from the NCAA last month.
Santa Clara kid.
Thierry Darlin, I think is his name. Played in the G League, and now he's eligible. Louisville's it was weird because I said, what the F out loud? when I saw it, and I was like, how is this even a thing? And then I had to go back and think about it. I was like, okay, well, I guess that somewhat makes sense. But anyways, I'm a firm believer, guys. We'll start out this way. I don't care if it's the high school ranks, the transfer portal ranks, the international waters, the G League. Put the best team on the floor. I don't care where you get them. Put the best team on the floor.
I'm with you.
If you got to go down the road to my Wednesday night basketball league to find your best talent, do it.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Take advantage of the rules. I don't like the idea that college basketball programs are allowed to do this. I don't like the idea that these kids can go back to college after making the decision to try to get to the next level, to try to get to the tier of basketball that is above college. You're in the gray area of that tier,
well, I don't know that
actively
you can
working to try to get there, and now you get to just come back. I don't like that.
Well, can you come back though?
If you've never been given an official contract, I guess is what. Like
Are you
Chucky,
sure?
I think,
Are you sure about it?
I think like for Chucky, it's
I
already
don't
too
know.
late.
I don't know that you can come back that way.
Undrafted,
It's
you
not
have
like
to go
it's not like
undrafted.
baseball.
No, you have to go undrafted, and if you don't sign the contract after going undrafted, I believe you're.
That's
allowed
how
to
it
come back.
is. Because I don't think this Darling kid played college ball.
So apparently it's
Well, I think all the kids so far most of the kids that they've reached out to have all been overseas talents, haven't they?
I mean, Abdul Ahmed, the player in question that Louisville has offered, along with some other top programs, he's 21 years old and he's played for the Westchester Knicks the past 2 years. He's not played college.
so it says that it kind of works in tandem with the international players. Like I know there's the stuff with Sananda Faru where he can't
that's what I
be
was thinking.
drafted or whatever. because-
Undrafted.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. He has never declared for the NBA draft. He just immediately went to the G League. So therefore, he
And
is
then
still
never signed a
eligible.
deal.
Yeah, never signed a deal, so he's eligible for college basketball still because
That's
he's
what I'm
never
saying.
been
Like
drafted.
Thierry Darlin, the guy that got ruled eligible for Santa Clara, he played for the Delaware Bluecoats, but he's from Central Africa. He's never played college.
I think
That's
it's-
why I think that like if you have the international route, you can go to the G League and then go to college. Unless I just don't know. I don't think that they can go to college,
No.
not get drafted, and then come back to college. I don't think
We haven't
that's-
seen any kids do that
we
yet.
haven't seen anyone try to do
Yeah.
that, to our knowledge. Maybe, who knows? With the NCAA granting weird eligibility, unless your name is Ali Khalifa, then you got to fight for it for no reason. I don't know that that's a thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that it's not like baseball. You can't do that in football either.
No. And I think it's like if one of these kids signed the two-way contract like Chucky just signed, I think that would have automatically ruled him out as well.
But that's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, I mean, if I think that you can't play even a single second in the NBA. You can't be on an NBA team.
Yeah.
You can't be selected by an NBA team. I don't think you can be drafted. If you enter the draft and go to the draft, and I think it's just
you
kind
can
of
enter the draft and take your name out now and go back to college.
I think there's a gray.
before
I
the
think there's
draft.
gray area, right? Like
Yeah.
you either have to.
'Cause somebody just did it. Take it away.
Well, yeah, a lot of players do that. You
Yeah.
enter the draft. It used to be where if you entered the draft,
You were done.
You were done, and then it used to be if you entered the draft without hiring an agent, you were done. And now it's like you entered the draft, and then you can come back if you want. It keeps changing, but we haven't seen someone.
Which it should be. You
We
should
haven't-
be able to really
yeah.
know what your waters are in the NBA and test the NBA waters and see if there's going to be a chance of you having interest with multiple teams, because then well, yeah, we're kind of interested, but we're not sure if we're going to take you with our
Texter says
28th
this,
pick. Then.
Didn't Duke lose a secret scrimmage to DePaul by 40?
Did you see this?
I do not. I'll be
So-
honest. I feel like I've been under a rock this past 2 weeks.
This is something that what's his name? Tony Patelis tweeted.
Yeah, college basketball guy.
You know that name.
Yeah, I know
He
his name.
tweeted from a source, DePaul beat Duke in a secret scrimmage 114-167 last night in Chicago with 3 eyes.
167?
114-67.
Oh, 14. Hold on, bro. You put up 114 points and lost by 40?
I didn't think it was
Paul is just
empty.
that team.
I didn't think it was real, but obviously, I mean,
It's the Mike Rutherford effect.
Tony Patelis is saying it. is the one tweeting this. Mike is saying Tony Patelis is an official guy.
Oh, no, Tony Patelis is a credible dude.
So Rashawn quotes this because we had just discussed Duke basketball on the Run In with Roman show from 2 to 2:30, so this comes out right after that. And then on the quote tweet from Rashawn, Tony Patelis replies to Rashawn with the Wolf of Wall Street meme GIF, the GIF meme.
Which one is it?
What a bleeping idiot in the office with Tom Cruise as the in the office with all the guys around him laughing and stuff, and when he gets the new job. But apparently this looks like a lie. There's some replying tweets to Rashawn.
Yeah, I'm looking at this like the responses are. I don't think they're trustworthy. Like Tony, look. So I started out. I won't really call it a sports media path. I mean, maybe you can. I did NBA draft analysis for the first couple of years of when I was either in college or just graduated from college. It wasn't until 2021 when I started to do, or 2020 when I started to do the majority of stuff for Louisville. Like Locked On Louisville, doing stuff for Cardinal Sports Zone, Big Red Louis, State of Louisville, you name it. Tony Patelis, I had became a mutual connection with through the NBA draft circle because college basketball, NBA draft, they kind of go hand in hand. They're synonymous. So I don't know that I believe it. I think judging the tone of that tweet and looking at some of the responses and how much it's joking, I don't know, man.
Duke wouldn't do that.
Mike says it was me. I'm the source. But even then, I still don't think Duke's better than Louisville. But back to the point at hand, it's crazy in 2025 AD, year of our Lord, we can recruit G League players.
I've never seen anything like it. I'm not, like I said, Dalton, I don't think this is what should be happening. But if we have the ability to make our team better through these rules, take advantage of the rules.
You've seen most of it, I feel like, has been international guys, right? So maybe this is just an extension of the international recruiting because
it's a way to get.
And you know that Louisville likes to recruit overseas because they brought in 3 international recruits this past year.
And that's the only stipulation on this ruling is for the only type of prospects that are going to be able to ever fall under this ruling are going to be there's
got to be a loophole because if you're American born and you go to the G League, chances are you're doing that. I think they've kind of taken it away almost like that G League Unite. They took away the G League Unite that Jonathan Kuminga, Jalen Green played for. Or they didn't take away the team, but your availability to go and then go to the draft. It's weird because things are changing, but I don't know how much you all have watched of this guy that Louisville is recruiting. Abdullah Ahmed, 6'10", 220 pounds. He's 21 years old. He's about to turn 22 in early November. So he would be playing at Louisville, assuming he were to come to Louisville. He would be 23 years old when he starts playing at Louisville. So it's probably going to be something like with Sananda Fru or Evangelos Zouguras or maybe even more advanced in that setting. But Zouguras and Fru are both juniors in terms of academic standing. I would imagine that Abdullah is sort of in that same mold. 2 years of eligibility, maybe 1. We'll see. But I don't know. 6'10", 220.
I don't know anything about him, but
that's not looking too hot.
I mean, granted, here's the thing. You also have to understand that the G League is significantly better than D1 basketball.
Way better.
Because who's playing in the G League? Former college stars and standouts, former lottery picks. Some of those guys overseas that are trying to get into the NBA.
Those fourth-year seniors that were college stars at their school but not really on the draft boards. What do you think they're doing now?
Those guys
they're not overseas.
Yeah. Where are they playing?
Trying to figure it out in the G League.
They're in the G League. So
he averaged 2.1 blocks last year.
Now, he's one of the best rim protectors in the G League, which is awesome because I think that in this system for Pat Kelsey, the big man's not going to be flashy. He's just going to do the
little
dirty
things
work,
right.
Do the little things, execute his role, which is going to be defend the rim,
screen hard.
This is like a real Mitchell Robinson kind of guy.
Yeah, I think that Robinson. I don't know that Robinson's as athletic as Ahmed is, but he's stronger than Ahmed. Now, Ahmed plays with a huge fire. Like, he plays with a ton of passion. When he gets the ball around the rim, have you seen his highlights?
Yeah.
Are you watching them right now?
I've already seen the ones. Yeah.
He said, I'm watching them right now, man.
Trying to go find some new ones here.
I mean, granted, the lack of film, but usually Pat Kelsey and company do their homework when it comes to international recruiting. So, and I would imagine that, and this is kind of where the somewhat of a plus is of going to get some older recruits, is that there's less of a concern and more of a safety net. Like, the ceiling might be limited, but you have more of a peace of mind that they're going to be able to come in right away and produce.
Yeah, and this kid for 2 years now has been seeing really, really high-level play calling, really, really high-level defensive sets and stuff like that. All the things that Pat Kelsey likes to do, he will have already done some form of that already. Plus, he has the experience overseas. So.
Well, it brings up the best point. People say all the time, there's no defense being played in the NBA. And it drives me insane. Because the truth of the matter is, there is defense being played in the NBA. You are just witnessing the most advanced, unique, offensively gifted league that we've ever seen.
There's more athleticism with skill.
The play calling. If you don't think that they're running sets in the NBA, watch a game.
It's a game of centimeters, Dalton.
Like,
it's a game of centimeters.
Look, man, and you talk to guys like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant says it. They run a good amount of intricate, advanced plays to where you can play great defense, but at the end of the day, you're going up against the best players on planet Earth.
The Pacers out there running 4 verts.
The two
Yep.
the two groups of people who don't think the NBA plays defense and it's not as skilled as it ever was before. Number one are the MJ truthers, the people who want to glorify the 80s and 90s and act like it was a backyard brawl in football because they got away with some pushing and shoving here and there.
Does it make it more skilled or better basketball?
It wasn't. It was 100% not more skilled.
Harder to play in, yeah. Does it make it better?
I don't think it is, but whatever. Or two, you just don't watch the NBA, you don't care about it, which is what it is. But let's move on to the point where Colvin Landrew, top 25 prospect in the 2026 class, makes his decision on Wednesday. Seemingly at the moment a battle between Louisville and UConn. And it seems like Pat Kelsey is not going to pick up his first commitment on Wednesday.
It's kind of what it's seeming like after obviously.
It's hard to recruit against UConn.
The sales pitch that UConn has to you with those 2 national championship trophies in your hands, showing you what the last handful of freshmen have done here under Dan Hurley, showing you what the team's done over the years, showing what you're going to be able to go and achieve just by coming here, and then that number on the check also looking really good as well. Just with the success that they've been able to have recently, the funds that they've been able to accumulate through their boosters because they've been winning. There's not very many sales pitches in college basketball that are better than what Dan Hurley has to offer for someone like Colvin Landrew.
That's a tough one. It's a tough one. I was a huge fan of Colvin Landrew. And look, things can change at the 11th hour. I'm not saying they can't, but my intuition is telling me that on Monday night as of 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Colvin Landrew will be a UConn Husky, which sucks to hear, truthfully. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm going to trust Pat Kelsey because he's shown that he can recruit at a high level. I think some tweaks might be needed, but I trust the evaluations and I trust the decisions because at the end of the day, he's shown that he's trustworthy. You know who else is trustworthy? Tony Collier. Sometimes you can't really control getting in an accident at work, on the way to work, but you can give yourself some peace of mind and control how you react to it by calling up Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony is a huge University of Louisville fan. His family has grown up right here in the city of Louisville, and he's worked for those big insurance companies. So he knows how to get you paid, and you know he's going to do so. So if you or someone you know gets injured in an accident, the Tony Collier Law Firm has got your back, not your wallet. Go to collierlawfirm.com or call 502-736-8141. Don't go anywhere. Alex Donno's coming up to preview this matchup against the Hurricanes when we come back here on Big X Sports Radio. segments down, 2 segments to go here on this October 13th edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence. Dalton Pence, Ron McKelly, and Matt Childress taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight. The Louisville Cardinals back in action on the football side this week. Unfortunately, their get-right game after the bye and coming off the Virginia loss is trying to go down to Hard Rock Stadium and knock off the number 2 ranked Miami Hurricanes. Easier matchups out there for sure, but let's talk a little bit about knowing the foe with the Miami Hurricanes, and the best way that I know to do that is to bring my guy Alex Dono on, host of Locked On Canes, and he is the post-game host for 1043 WQAM. Dono, what's up, man? Can you hear me all right? Alex, you there, man?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you,
There we
Dalton?
go,
Nice
man.
to talk to you.
Sorry, brother. Our phone line has been going through the sorts on this. It is a Monday for our equipment as well, but nice to talk to you, man. We'll start out with this, and I know that you and I are going to have a Locked On crossover later on in the week, but this start for Miami, really hard to argue with the resume and how they played. That, I mean, this team has a legitimate case to be the number 1 overall team, regardless of that number beside their name.
I mean, I think it's a team that's really built the right way, Dalton, and I know that there have obviously been some growing pains up to this point. And, of course, even at this point, you're 5 games into at least a 12-game season, so there's a lot of work left to do. But Mario Cristobal has done a tremendous job when it comes to recruiting and building the offensive lines and defensive lines especially. You know, that's the way he likes to build a football team. You know, on the defensive line, Ruben Bain has been wreaking havoc at one edge spot, and Hakeem Mesidor has been doing an excellent job at the other spot. He's kind of right there with Bain. The offensive line is one of the better units in the country, and it certainly helps that some other players have really stepped up. You know, Carson Beck has had a really nice start to his Miami career so far after transferring in at quarterback from Georgia. And then really one of the stories on this team has been true freshman receiver Malachi Toney, who's been absolutely electric. And he was 17 years old until a couple weeks ago. He was an early enrollee, got to Miami a year early, which is pretty remarkable that he's become Miami's leading receiver so far. So things have been going very, very well. I think, Mario Cristobal would say it's still a work in progress because the team is kind of yet to put together 4 full quarters. They've had a few lulls here and there, but you can't argue, like you said, with the resume. It's arguably the best in the country so far, having some big-time non-conference games. And a win over Florida State is always nice, even though a lot of people are beating them these days. But it's been one of the best, certainly best 5-game starts for Miami I can remember going way, way back.
Which is kind of, unique to hear that they haven't really put together a full game, considering that they're 5-0 in their schedule. I mean, it hasn't been a cupcake one. They had to defeat Notre Dame right out of the gate. They demolished a South Florida team that very well could be that group of 5 playoff team at the end of the year, and they handled 2 in-state rivals in Florida and Florida State. If you had to point to, and this might be difficult to do, but if you had to point to one thing that you'd say, you know what, this has led to the 5-0 start more than the others, and only one thing, what would that be?
The improvement on defense overall. Miami's defense was such a liability last year. It's really the primary reason why, a team that was led by Cam Ward last season, who was so spectacular at quarterback, why they fell short of basically every goal. ACC championship game, they didn't get there, didn't get into the college football playoff, and it really was because their defense couldn't consistently stop anybody. I mean, even they had an epic game against Louisville last year. The final score was 52-45, so there wasn't much defense being played, despite winning that game in a shootout last season. So I think the job that new defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman has done, really letting this team play faster and more free. I think there was a lot of overthinking that was happening and over-scheming with Miami's previous defensive coordinator, Lance Guidry. Ran a lot of stunts and twists on the defensive line. They're playing a lot more direct this year. And, you're seeing the way they've been able to pressure quarterbacks. And I love this matchup coming up on Friday because I know Louisville's defensive front has also been doing a tremendous job. So I think, the battles in the trenches, specifically on both defensive lines, are going to be fun this week. But I would just point to Miami's defense being dramatically improved as the biggest reason why they've gotten off to this great start.
the spread is currently sitting at around, anywhere from 11.5 to 13.5. I think I saw it at 13.5, which I feel like personally, it's a large spread, but I don't think it's, not justified. Like, I think it's justified, right? I think that Miami has proven themselves, and Louisville has kind of yet to do that. Yeah, they're 4-1, but the truth of the matter is that they haven't really had one performance this year where you've come away from it thinking, that's a dang good football team. They still have some struggles, and you're looking to kind of piece them together on the fly. I think that what Miami does well are some things that Louisville doesn't do well, especially in the trenches. When you look at this spread, 13.5, it might look really large, but is it justified in your eyes as well?
I think it's justified, but I'm not 1,000% confident on the Miami side that they cover. I think there's obviously I think it's a good bet that Miami wins the game, but that doesn't account for the spread. Because one thing I think Miami's going to have to prove this week and moving forward, which is, when I brought up not really being complete through four quarters for most of the season, there have been some lulls in the fourth quarters when Miami has leads. Not that I ever felt like Florida State was going to come back and win, before the bye week, but it was a little frustrating when Miami was up 28-3, and they allowed a 19-0 fourth quarter run by Florida State to make the game look closer than it really was. Kind of the same thing happened against Florida. Miami did cover the spread, though, in both of those games. The spreads weren't as big as this one is. So, yeah, I can understand the number being where it is, like whether it be 12.5 or 13.5. I understand it. I do think it's a big number. So I guess the question will be, and obviously you're asking a whole different set of questions on the Louisville side, but I think one of the questions that I would ask on the Miami side is even if they win the game, are they gonna really be able to kind of step on the throat of the opponent, which is something we haven't really seen them do yet this year.
Sure. Alex, Donna, Roman Kelly here with the Dalton Pence as well. I wanted to ask you, this Miami team, like you said, it's had a couple of growing pains throughout the season already. A back and forth performance there against Notre Dame, in which it was able to get the job done. Kind of not necessarily based on the score, but the first half of that Florida game was interesting. It looked like Florida kept having chances and opportunities, but Miami getting the job done on long play situations. Overall, the defense is too much for Florida, but still, that offense has had its moments throughout this season where it's kind of wavered in its fluidity and its ability to get downfield without any struggle. Where would you pinpoint in this Miami team, though, all around? If you had to pinpoint a weakness that it's showcased this season, haven't really consistently shown very many, but if you would have had to pinpoint a weakness that they've seen already, where would you say that is?
Yeah, I don't think it's any specific on the field thing. I would just say their weakness is inconsistency, because I think every unit has been great at times. Carson Beck has himself in the Heisman conversation. He played exceptionally well against Florida State, and that came after kind of a not-so-great game against Florida. But Florida defensively has frustrated a lot of quarterbacks this year, and then Beck bounced back. Miami has had specifically two receivers that have been great. Malachi Toney, who I mentioned, the true freshman, and C.J. Daniels, an LSU transfer, has just made some circus catches throughout the year. He's already got 5 touchdowns on the season. Miami's running game at times has been dynamic. I think one of the things that has maybe made Miami's offense look a little inconsistent is just teams kind of choosing to try to take something away.
Yeah.
Florida State decided to try and take away Miami's running attack with, Mark Fletcher and Marty Brown have off to a nice start this year. And Florida State really keyed in on the run, heavy boxes, and then they kind of picked their poison, and that allowed the passing game to pick them apart. Florida kind of did the opposite. Florida tried to take the passing game away, and then Miami's running game got off. So I think they've been really good everywhere. One of the better offensive lines in the country. The quarterback's been really good. Receivers, running game has been really good. I just think at times they've had these lulls, and it's often come when they've had big leads, and maybe they just they take their foot off the gas a little bit. Miami fans sometimes get a little frustrated with the play calling, getting conservative late in games, but I've actually defended them for that, guys, because one of the big issues that Miami had last year, the defense wasn't nearly as good, but they were way too pass heavy last year in games where they were leading, And if you have any lulls in the passing game, you're stopping the clock. You're not forcing your opponent to use any timeouts. I thought that was a big reason why Miami blew a 21-point lead against Syracuse last year. So this year, they're really trying to shorten games. If they have a lead in the fourth quarter, they just basically start, run after run after run. It's a little predictable. Sometimes it's more successful than other times, but they're trying to take time off the clock and force the opponent to use their valuable second half timeouts. So I just, I get very nitpicky because, like you guys have both mentioned, I mean, Miami, they're ranked number 2 in the country, and they're off to a 5-0 start. So, I bring up certain things. I don't really feel like this team has shown any actual weakness to this point. Season is still young.
Yeah.
But I think if anything else, they, just more so on offense than defense, I think, have just been a little bit streaky, right? There are times when you'll have maybe a bad quarter, a few bad consecutive series, but overall they've been very good. I think everyone would like to see if they can just put together like a full 60-minute game.
That's kind of where I figured you'd go, because they actually haven't looked bad at all this season. They've had its moments where, the play calling looked like it was trying to figure it out because the defense was a little bit prepared, and they quickly have adjusted this season. That's been the one thing that's impressed me most, I feel like, is Cristobal adjusting mid-game and late in third quarters and fourth quarters and doing what he's got to do to make sure his team stays in the winning position versus giving the other team the opportunity. I feel like there was a lot of shootouts last year where it felt like Miami was the better team top to bottom on both ends of the ball, yet still feeling like it's coming right down to the wire. Kind of seeming like he's preventing that a little bit this season going so far in what we've seen. One other thing, Alex, I wanted to ask you. This Miami team, like you just mentioned with Tony, the receiver, and the LSU receiver as well from the transfer portal, Ruben Bain on the defensive line, Carson Beck obviously turning a lot of heads in the couple of performances that he's had. Is there one player this season so far for Miami that surprised you way more than anybody else? Some player that you really didn't see the performances coming that you've seen so far?
That's a great question. Not that I didn't expect this player to be good, but transfer safety Jacoby Thomas, who came from the Tennessee Volunteers, he's been spectacular. Like, he might be, like, outside of Ruben Bain, I think, and maybe even including Ruben Bain, Jacoby Thomas has been like the most consistent, excellent player on Miami's defense so far. He's really the ideal safety, like the type of player Miami was missing last year, where he's putting on big hits. He also grades out really well in coverage, and he's provided 2 sacks and a handful of TFL already this season. He's got a couple of interceptions this season. I'm 41 years old, lifelong Miami guy, and I've watched players like Ed Reed and Sean Taylor come through. Not putting Jacoby Thomas in that same conversation yet, but all this to say, I've been very spoiled throughout my life watching great safeties put that U on their helmet, and
Definitely.
like Jacoby Thomas he's starting to remind me, okay, this is what safety play should look like and what it used to look like at Miami. So I think he to me has been. And again, not that I expected him not to be good this year, but he just didn't have the same sort of hype that some of the other transfers and returning players did. So I'd say safety Jacoby Thomas to me has been a guy who has I don't think he's had a bad game, let alone maybe a bad snap all season long.
Okay. Thank you. Glad for those answers there. Shout out to Alex Donna on the line.
Alex Dono, host of Locked on Canes. Got one more for you, Dono, before we let you go. Carson Beck, of course, has had a good season. What has impressed you most about what he's shown through the first 5 games?
It's crazy because I heard all these things about Carson, right when he decided to transfer to Miami. Just a lot of sour grapes coming out of UGA. Oh, this guy, he's not a leader. He's not, this or that. He's so inconsistent. He doesn't care about football. In covering Beck, going back to January, it's been the complete opposite. I mean, he probably understands how important this final season is to his career, but he's been a tremendous leader. The guy he's in the film room constantly, and it shows on the field because the way he processes games. Something on the field that really impresses me is just how good he is at going through his progressions and taking the check down when appropriate. Cam Ward last year was probably the most exciting quarterback I've ever watched at Miami, but just so different because Cam Ward was always going for like the 40-yard bomb on every single play. So it's just different watching Carson Beck, who takes a variety of different throws, and he's effective in different ways than Cam Ward was. So, and I would say I'm impressed with the way offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson has really kind of adapted to two different quarterbacks in consecutive years. But Carson he's just been what Miami has needed this year. I mean, his experience factor. I mean, he went into Doak Campbell Stadium, a week and a half ago, completely unfazed by that environment and calmed the entire team down. I think he's been excellent, and even some Miami fans kind of doubted, hey, like, is this the right guy to bring in to try to fill Cam Ward's shoes? And I think everyone has been pleasantly surprised with the way he's approached Miami, with the way he's carried himself, and his teammates are legitimately in on Cam Ward. Like, he is beloved in the locker room. So, or on the Carson Beck, I should say. I still have Cam Ward on my brain. Freudian slip there. But Carson Beck's teammates are completely locked in and on board with the guy. And so I think he's been tremendous this year, both on and off the field.
That's Alex Dono, host of Locked On Canes. Dono and I will be collabing later on this week in a crossover between Locked On Louisville and Locked On Canes. Be sure to check that out. But we have one more segment to go where we will continue things of what Louisville needs to do. Thanks, Dono, and we'll talk to you soon, man. For everyone else,
thank you.
We'll catch you after the break here on Big X Sports Radio. 6:46. We're taking you up till 7 o'clock. Well, technically 6:59 on this chilly but sunny. I'll take chilly and sunny versus rainy as it was last Monday. But thanks for tuning up to this point. D. Pence, Roman Kelly, Matt Childress taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight. Alex Dono is one of the most informative podcast hosts out there. He hosts Locked On Canes, which, for those that don't know, the Locked On Podcast Network has shows for basically every team. Like, I host Locked On Louisville, and I work closely with the hosts of the other ACC schools. And we've had Isaac Shade on from Locked On College Basketball. He also hosts Locked On Tar Heels. He's great. Alex Dono is a class, because he hosts a soccer podcast too, so soccer fans will get it. He's a class podcast host. Like, this guy just gets it. He's super informative.
Really good.
Super informative. And, you know, I guess because I felt the same way about this game for about 3 weeks now, am I wrong for, like, just not being excited for Friday? Are you all excited for Friday night? Like, I'm excited to an extent, but, like, I think for the Cardinals to pull off the upset, they have to play a damn near perfect game.
I'm excited.
I'm ready.
I'm excited, but, like, I don't know.
I'm excited for the sole purpose of
This is our season.
Maybe it's because of the air that got deflated out of the balloon with that Virginia loss, and then you have the sour taste in your mouth transition over into the bye week. Maybe that's it. Maybe my excitement is over on the basketball side. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Louisville's going to lose by 49 points. But, like, it's just, I guess because we haven't seen a quote-unquote good to great performance yet this season. And now we have to expect it against the number 2 team in the country on the road.
Matt, tell Dalton why he needs to be excited.
You need to be excited because you know what Louisville doesn't have and Miami does? Miami has Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
Who every single season, as good as they are, as much talent as the dude brings in, he has the Jeff Raw effect just like we do. He has a stinker every once in a while. And honestly, if anybody's overdue, it is Mario Cristobal. He's overdue for a stinker. We got big game Brom on our side. And I mean, we're still 4-1. They're like, the season still can be good.
He's got a clout chaser quarterback who's got some bad juju headed his way anytime now.
Look, I think that everything you're saying is true. But I mean, this look. I think
you're looking too much on the analytical side.
Okay, my fault, man.
This is a vibes game, dog.
My bad,
This is a vibes game.
I won't look at this from an X's and O's perspective. I'm gonna go for gut check.
We can't. We gotta throw that out the window, dog.
What happened the last time we went to Miami, Dalton? Think about that.
I was at that game, and that was a completely different team on both sides.
I can't even say the last time we played Miami.
Do you know who the quarterback was for that Miami team?
What's his name?
Yeah, what's his name?
We just talked about him 2 weeks ago, didn't we, on this show?
Did we?
I didn't know his name, but I knew that name. Who was it?
So you're telling me to think back of when we beat Miami last? You can't even tell me their quarterback's name?
I forget.
Matt, who was it? Don't look it up, Matt.
Oh, I already looked it up.
Who is it?
Tyler Van Dyke? Is that who it was?
Tyler Van Dyke.
That's right.
Tyler Van Dyke.
Tyler Van Dyke, Miami legend.
We brought him up.
It would be here's something here. I would feel much better about this game. And we could put Miami to the side. There hasn't been one game this season for Louisville. Yes, they are 4-1. They found ways to win. They found ways to dominate the fourth quarter in all but one of the games. Well, even then, they dominated the fourth quarter against Virginia. They just lost in overtime because they were losing by 10. We haven't had one game where I've come away thinking, you know what? That was a damn good game.
True.
Because what's hurt this team?
Ourselves.
Penalties. Negative plays. Turnovers. Giving up big plays, offensive line, and play calling. So those are six different factors. Louisville has been able to beat 4 of the 5 teams on their schedule because they've been more talented than them. And I think they were more talented than Virginia. They almost beat them despite gift wrapping them 14 points, literally saying, here you go. Talent's not going to win you this game. Miami has the talent advantage. a lot has to go right in this game. And please don't take this as me saying that Louisville has no shot. They do. Big game Brom is real.
Another point.
Okay.
While we haven't had that game this season, we've had in each of every one of these games we've played, we've showcased at least one or two or three series where if we can replicate what we did, the positives within that series, within that half, within that quarter, if we can get that for a full game, if we can get that level of play for a full game.
We're playing it's the if game.
I get it. Here's my thing though. We've seen it. We've gotten to see it. It's not like the only way for Louisville to win this game is for Louisville to do something that they haven't done at all this season. Granted, they haven't consistently done what we've seen them do for a full game. It's still technically at that point in the season where things can change, things can shift. You've got a couple parts on this team that have now started to get back healthy. Dalton, we had a couple of that second half against Pitt was beautiful. There was 2 or 3 drives against Virginia where they couldn't stop us up until a penalty, up until a
that's where I'm coming. That's
call.
why I'm getting
that.
to.
But
ceiling's there.
We've seen a level of offensive play. Granted, not in the last 2 games with the run game, but we've seen it. We've seen the big runs from the offense at least twice this season. We know it's possible. We've seen the pass game get down the field quickly. Good play, right decision every time, right route every time, right? We've seen the defense daggone nearly play a complete game fully.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of putting it all together, playing
Which Louisville
clean
has not
football.
done once this year.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Dalton. Let's say everything in the Virginia game goes exactly the same, except we pull it out in overtime.
Okay.
We get a win. We're 5-0, but we still have that piss poor performance. Do you feel any different about this game?
The season, yes. The game, no. I think, fellas, I think that Louisville can win this game, but we know that there's differences between can and will.
Yeah.
I think that the inconsistencies. Here's what I'm getting at. You can't beat yourself and beat Miami at the same time. You can do that with other games. You cannot do that against Miami because this isn't like the Miami teams of old. This is a Miami team that's incredibly disciplined. They don't have many negative plays because their offensive line's like the damn Monstars. They have a defensive coordinator that can finally unlock that talent.
Yeah.
And it's a team talented enough to the point to where even if you aren't a huge fan of Mario Cristobal, and I know that we aren't,
you've got to respect it that it's changed
you have to
this year.
respect that this is their most complete team so far. I think that this year's team beats last year's team. That is my hot take. Because last year's team did not have a defense. If last year's team had a defense, they're 12-0 and they're going to the college football playoff.
You're right.
This year's team has a significantly better defense and an offense that's not as flashy, but they move the ball down the field and they just wear you out. So where does Miami, where do their strengths lie? In the trenches. Where do Louisville's weaknesses lie? In the trenches. This game is going to be determined at the line of scrimmage. I would imagine that Brom's going to tinker with this offense to try to get the ball out quicker. But if the Cardinals, who, by the way, have one of the bottom 30 rushing attacks in the country, back-to-back under 100-yard rushing games since 2015, if you can't run the football and you're consistently playing behind the sticks, again, I'm explaining it in a long way to come to it at this conclusion. The Cardinals can win this game. They've got the talent. They've got the coach that is known for pulling off these games. They have a defense that's playing well. They've answered the call every single game.
They've got the big game players.
You just don't know which Louisville's going to show up.
Yeah.
And I think that if it's anything like what we've seen, you're going to get the best of Louisville and you're going to get the worst of Louisville because that's what's happened every game that's mattered. It can't happen against Miami if you want to pull it off. You have to play mistake-free, clean, turnover-free, penalty limited, and you also have to force turnovers and get Miami's offense off the field. So there's a lot of ifs going on. Again, I'll reiterate it. I think the Cardinals can win this game. Got to be realistic. I think there's a reason that this is a 13.5-point spread. You're on the road. If it's at Cardinal Stadium on a Friday night, maybe I feel a little different, which I would. I just feel like even if Louisville does have a good game, you're going up against, in my opinion, the number 1 team in the country.
Who can exploit your weaknesses.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the original question for a second. Is that are we excited for this game?
I mean, I'm not like Eeyore. Oh man, I just hate it. I'm excited for it reasonably.
I'm excited for this game for another reason, in the sense that the season is not over until this game is over.
Well, the season's not over even if the game is over.
I'm saying, if you want a chance to make the ACC championship game, if you want a chance to possibly make a college football playoff, you have to win this football game.
I'm not even thinking about the playoff.
I am, because at the end of the day, the playoff has changed football forever. 6 wins isn't enough anymore. Nobody cares about bowl games. So, like, if Louisville loses this game on Friday, that's out. It's over.
One more season, you're not getting over the hump.
You can't do it. It's done. You like, yeah, you want to see the guys stay buy-in. You want to win 10 games. You want to win whatever. But it doesn't. At the end of the day, you're just playing to beat Kentucky at the end of the season.
Call it how you see it, then, Matt.
So, like, I'm excited for this football game because this is our one shining moment. This is the last moment Louisville finally has to make a statement. If they don't get it done, then we're done. But if they do, Dalton, you're buying me a beer.
I'll buy a round for the boys. I'll buy it for you and Rome. Look, because I mean, look, I don't want. I mean, inevitably it's going to happen. Oh, you didn't believe in Louisville, bro. It's impossible to not reiterate what Louisville's issues are right now. I've done told you they can win this game. I don't think they will. I do think it is a possibility, and I hope that. I mean, I pray that they do, because if they do, the season's back on. All things are back on the table. The Virginia loss becomes even more frustrating, but I'll take the trade-off. I'll take a loss against Virginia and a win against Miami. If that's the way you spin it and say, hey, look, you could beat Miami, but you got to lose to Virginia, hell yeah. Sign me up. Because then you control your own destiny, not only in the ACC. Like you said, Matt, your college football playoff hopes are still alive, but you got to win this game to make sure that they remain that way. So that's all that I'm saying. I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to sound like it, but
both of these defenses can get the job done. I think we all like the under here.
What is the under? Like 51 something?
Yeah.
It's a boring under.
I think some points are going to be scored in this game, truthfully.
52.5.
I'm going to go 31-21. So
you think we cover?
I think we cover. I'm going to go 31-20.
Spread down to 13.5, depending on where you're looking.
I should have been funny.
Louisville is 1-4 against the spread.
I should have been funny. I should have said, so you think we win by 10?
Yeah. Louisville 31. This is like 2013 Sugar Bowl over again. Big underdog, and we end up winning against the Florida team. What about you?
Say Louisville gets the win here. I was picked us to lose this game preseason. I'm believing in Jeff Brom. I'm believing in the bye week. I'm believing in the ability to get back right.
Hell yeah.
I'm also thinking that it's only a matter of time before that dark cloud over Carson Beck comes to fruition here. And I've got Louisville winning this game. I'll go 31-28.
Okay. Real quickly, Matt.
27-24. I think we win this game.
I hope you boys are right. And if you are, first round's on me. Thanks for tuning in to Mondays with Dalton Pence. We'll have more Miami prep throughout the week with Mike Rutherford, Roma Kelly, Matt Childress. You're tuned in to Big X Sports Radio. We'll see you soon.